Think we're coming on live. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, happy weekend, happy St. Patrick's. Got your green on. So glad to have you guys here. If you guys are here live, say something in the chat. If you're watching the replay, say something in the chat. It really is, when you're an online presenter, like, your audience matters so much. Like, it shifts the energy of how I present. It shifts the energy of everyone that watches the replay. Please say and type and at least let us know you're here live, okay? So if you're here live, say so. I'm moving my screens around so I can see the notes. We had awesome replies. I had some really, really good messages, responses on the thread inside the group. You know what I really appreciated was how vulnerable I can see your guys' answers inside the group, which tells me that my goal of having this group be a safe place is on point. And those that have been in here longer know that. They're like, whoa, Robin is like, you can say anything. I have no judgment. It's just a safe place for you to say, this isn't going well for me. I need to understand this, because we all are going through this human experience. And gosh dang it, it's not fun sometimes. It's very uncomfortable at times. Things are hard sometimes. Like, this is the world we live in. If we can have a safe place where we can feel supported, where we can talk about the things that are hard, oh, that's valuable. It is so valuable. So I'm going to dive right in. Again, if you're watching live, I'm going to refresh my page just one more time. If you're watching live, it shows that we have 4 or 5 people, 5 people on live. Please come and say hello. Say hi in the comments. Let us know who's here. Again, toggling through my screens to find the questions that I copied, the answers, and some of the stuff. Amy's here, Stephanie's here. Thanks, you guys. So much. I really appreciate it. So we're going to dive in. I'm just going to start at the top and go down. So what's really interesting, hey, Nikki, what's really interesting is there's a theme through several of these questions. And we had wonderful messages sent to me about kind of like daily energy, overwhelm, burnout, these kinds of ideas. And I want to share with you that while we are human and we're going to feel our feels, and we need to learn to go, what am I feeling? What is this feeling? Can I name it? Can I identify what exactly this is? Is this sadness? Is this anger? Is this disappointment? Is this abandonment? What is it really at the core of what you're feeling? Because being able to identify our emotions, and inside the Elevated Mother workbook, I have the comfortable emotion wheel and the uncomfortable emotion wheel. And the power of this is, I even had a client a couple of years ago, and she printed these out big, like, I don't know if you can see, but these are like, she printed them out like 11 by 17 and framed them and put them in the wall in her house. And she's a mom of all boys. And she was just like, you know what? I think some of the reasons my boys just get frustrated, we freak out in this family, we don't communicate well, and she's like, we just don't have the words. We don't. And she got these printed and put them in her house. And she's, in one of her sessions, she's like, Robin, I have caught all of my boys at one time or another staring at these. They're looking at them. They're going down the hall in our home and they're looking at them. I even saw my husband kind of glance at them the other day. And that goes back to one of the points I wanted to make today. I'm going to make a note because my brain likes to think of a lot of things. So give me a second. If you're taking notes, take notes. If you want to know where I got those, they are from, I think I may have even put them in the files of this group. But let me go look at the copyright, the humansystems.co. So https://humansystems.co, motion wheels. And just being able to know where you're coming from, because what's great about, should just keep it open, right? What's great about these emotion wheels is that if you can identify and say, okay, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. I am feeling really struggling. Okay, you can be struggling and be super joyful and having lots of abundance. You know what I mean? So it's important that you go, okay, what am I really feeling? I'm feeling really vulnerable. I'm feeling, and that goes back to feeling kind of fragile. Like, I'm not sure if I'm strong enough. I don't know. And it goes back and back and back to these outward emotions, then the inner, and it leads back to these core emotions we've been able to identify in science. So that feeling of, I just feel vulnerable. I'm feeling like maybe I'm kind of fragile. Like I'm worried about a lot of things, goes back to alone. Your overall feeling like maybe you're unsupported. Like you know what I mean? It's such a great tool because if you're feeling these things about just lots of feels, overwhelm and burnout and these different things, start to identify, give words to what's happening to you. That is so good for our human brains. Our brains love to be able to identify what's going on. And so if you can know that, then you can get to the core of it and go, whoa, why am I not feeling supported? Here's the thing. All suffering is a signal that we've become attached to a thought. Write it down. All suffering is a signal that you've become attached to a thought pattern. And so if you're like, I'm alone, I'm unsupported, then you can sit there and go, no, hang on a minute. Am I alone and unsupported? And you can start challenging this thought tunnel that you've been in. And you can say, you know what, Robin supports me. I kind of think God is out there supporting me. I kind of think Jesus Christ's atonement supports me. Does my husband support me? Do I have any friends? Is my mom here? Do I have angels on the other side supporting me? Like, you can really, once you identify, you can then go, this is the thought pattern I've been having. Is this true? Is this true for me? And our brain, in its amazing calculatory way, will answer any query that you give it. It is amazing. It will sift through memories and all these different things, be like, we can find proof for that. We can find proof for that. We can find proof for that. So getting down to the real question is going to be like one of the best skills you can learn in your life. So if all suffering stems back to a thought you've become attached to, we learn to dismantle what thoughts have not been helpful. Not been helpful. And I'm not judging if you feel genuinely alone. Like, write it out. Write the word. I feel alone. I feel unsupported, but don't judge it. It's not, oh, maybe I'm unstable. Maybe I shouldn't be a mom. I shouldn't even try to. Guys, don't judge yourselves. Like, self-judgment is a road that is unhelpful. It is never helpful. Like, it's not. We are just a soul having a human experience. Our body is going through something because it's human, because it has a brain and it has these emotional responses. We go, oh, I'm having this experience. Can I be curious about this? My circumstances are always neutral. What is going on within me that's causing this suffering? What's going on within me I've become attached to some idea that I believe I'm not worthy. I should be different. I will never have this thing. Like, do you see how that kind of comes all together? And these are general principles of mindset work, change, growth, like all this stuff, right? And one of the specific questions we had this morning, so I've just kind of covered that main theme I was seeing from a lot of messages that I got about feeling overwhelmed and burnout. The first thing you want to do with that is become aware of what it is, if possible. Can I get to the root of what the overwhelm and the burnout was from? And even if you're like, well, I just had a lot with my kids. Okay, but there's a lot of people that do a lot of things with their kids. They have a different mindset or a different way of thinking to where that doesn't cause burnout. Where does that come from? So being able to identify the emotion, being able to get to the core of it, and then asking yourself, is that true? Is this true for me? Or is there a thought or belief system that got triggered somewhere that I can start to dismantle by asking some really good questions? Is this true for me? Why is this happening? Can I set a boundary somewhere to make this different, right? Like, these are really great overall principles of change. But one of the specific things that came up was daily, like, what are my daily practices or thoughts to help me keep moving forward, doing the things that are needed as a wife, as a mom, as a business owner, all these things, instead of avoiding, kind of shrinking back, playing small, feigning lack of interest. How do you shift your perspective on those things? Now, this is a great question, right? Anybody else found themselves sometimes just like, I'm in a pattern of playing small because it seems hard if I go and do all the things that might have caused burnout or overwhelm before. And so you learned from that. Does anyone else relate to this question that this lady sent and put in there? Like, what are some of the things that keep you moving forward, doing the stuff you need to do, instead of just kind of like, one of my clients called it numbing out. And just last night, my oldest daughter was on the couch just scrolling her phone. And she looked very stressed. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing? Thank you, Carissa. She's like, I'm just feeling my feelings. And we've talked about that. And I was like, oh, well, I saw you scrolling on your phone. Were you watching a video about that? Like, and she's like, no, I was just scrolling. It just helps me to sit with it. And that was a really beautiful opportunity for me to help her understand that what she was doing when we sit and scroll on our phones, and this goes to a question someone else had asked later down on my list, when we sit and scroll on our phones, there's a tiny percentage of entertainment, like tiny. The bigger percentage is we're so overstimulating our brain that we numb out our ability to work through what we just went through. This is the same as using drugs. It's the exact same brain pattern. People that smoke, people that drink, people that are using like ecstasy type drugs, they are numbing their system so they don't have to think about it. Smoking and alcohol is so stimulant to so many parts that we numb out and it dulls our sensations. Scrolling on social media mindlessly, I'm saying this way because this is serious. This is a plague of the phones. I love my phone. It is so useful for me as a mother entrepreneur. Like, I love my phone and its capabilities. But please, if you have not faced the music on this is so important. When you are mindlessly scrolling on your phone, you are putting so much stimulus from the colors, the lights, the energy pulsing from the cell activity on your phone to the very ideas that you're seeing, the words, the music, the comparison, the ideas. You're flashing your brain with so much information that it literally just goes like this. You numb yourself to being able to process. So I was able to help my daughter last night realize what she was doing. And because we have regular communication, she was open to talking with me about that. She was like, oh, I'm like, you're not feeling your emotions. That's what you're doing. And she was like, oh, she's like, well, what should I do instead? I'm like, meditation, actually sitting in it and using journaling. Like I just talked about at the beginning of this call. What am I feeling? What words is this? That's processing your emotions, letting it go through you. Okay. You've felt it, sit with it, get real with it. Numbing out through scrolling on your phone, drinking alcohol, smoking, taking drugs. Okay. Binge watching. People say, I need to binge watch. It helps my brain stop. No, it just helps your brain go somewhere else. But you didn't process anything. You didn't actually decompress. Isn't that interesting? This is important, guys. This is so important. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear this because we value that feeling. But what I'm here to share with you that I feel really strongly in this moment to share with you is that that's not living. You're literally numbing out. And in your book of life, at the end of the day, you're going to have these gray periods, these huge gray periods of nothing. What was I doing during that time? That's when you numbed out life. Yeah, we can sit and watch a Netflix episode, you guys. I do that. My family's all about Mandalorian, and we're sitting and watching the new episodes every Wednesday, right? Anybody else? But that's different, right? And here's the other overwhelming thing that I saw on the questions that I'm doing this because I have a page right here full of notes, is intention is everything. If your intent to go watch an episode on, Disney Plus or whatever is, dang, it's Wednesday night, the family's all home, it's so fun, we snuggle together, we have a treat. This is my intention. Do you see how that's different than, I can't handle life, I have to go flip on the TV, I'm not talking to anybody, and I'm going to just eat whatever because, I should add eating to that list of numbing out. When we shoot our bodies so full of salt, of addictive materials that are in Doritos and microwave popcorn, and do you know what I mean? Or sugar. Sugar is the obvious one, right? It just shoots your dopamine up so high that you're just zinged. Or caffeine. Same thing, you guys. It's the same process. So if you've ever judged people that are smoking, you might go look at their life and they're not overeating and they're not binge watching Netflix. You can't judge it, right? You cannot judge it. We just don't judge ourselves and we don't judge other people. Everybody's got their stuff. Everybody got their thing. Think about this stuff. But intent is everything. Really get real with what your intention is on the action that you're taking. Why am I doing this? What is my intention here? It shifts everything. So what it all comes back to on this question about daily practices to keep moving forward. Guys, intention. Yes, I love the miracle morning principles. And I love the idea of that are in millions of books about getting up with intention, going to bed with intention. That's great. But here's the thing. You can't have an intention if you haven't taken the time to set a general focus. If anyone's on here that's an EMX client, I'm coming around to this, right? You're like, oh, they don't have goals. They don't have clarity. That's the people that are asking these kinds of questions. When you've sat down and created goals that mean something to you, that you're excited about, doesn't mean they're comfortable, but you're excited about it because you're like, this aligns so well. This aligns with my soul. This aligns with my family. This aligns with my talents and gifts. I have a central focus here. Because here's the thing, write this down. Gold nugget here. If you don't have a central focus, survival is the default. If you don't have a central focus, survival is the default. If you don't have a focus on health, then who cares what you eat? If you don't have a focus on where your money is going, who cares what you buy? Do you know what I mean? Like you're just living, you're just surviving. I can't even say living, because to me, I have a belief system that living means purposeful intent, like joy. And the only way we find those things is when we are progressing. Okay. So when you're feeling like you're playing small, you have a lack of interest, you have a lack of focus. You have a lack of central focus that is intentional. You really need to sit with yourself and be like, what's the most important thing that's really important for me that happens this year? And create a couple of goals that go right into that. What's the most impactful thing I can do right now to make that possible in a year? If you're an EMX student, you're just like, I'm with you, because guess what's inside this workbook that I send to every single client? And I work through this with you with very specific videos and all the things. We create this for you. We break it down. You have a step-by-step so that within a year, you achieve all your goals. The success is inevitable. And I honestly didn't know that these questions were going to lead back directly to the program, but they have so richly that I feel it to share again, that this is available. This process, this learning has been mapped. Should you choose to invest the time and the effort to go and learn this process. One other part of that question that the lady asked was, what if I don't feel like I have the energy? What if I feel like I'm lacking in the energy? And I'm like, okay, energy is complex, because energy is 50% actual organic processes, and energy is 50% brain, like mindset, perception. Did you know that? Your energy is 50% organics, 50% perception. Okay, you can eat all the energy-rich foods, you can do your workout, you can do all the things to increase your energy. But if you are stressed out, feeling alone, lack of focus, all these things, these take up so much energy, you guys. When you are consistently moving forward in time, worried about this event, moving backward in time, feeling bad about that event, you're re-recording, going over, conversations that you had, and you're worried about conversations. Like, do you see this? That uses so much energy, because when you're doing that, your body does not know the difference. If you're going forward and backward in your mind, you're transporting your body there too. If you're going back to grandma's funeral and crying, you are feeling that in that moment. If you're going forward to this event that you've created some fictional story about, and you're going through the emotions of it, sometimes multiple times with multiple scenarios, you're putting your body through that. No wonder you're exhausted. So just be aware that, yes, we want to have the organic piece. We want to, take our walk in the sunshine and take our supplements and eat healthy and all those things. But if this piece is flatlined, you've got only 50%, and that's pretty hard to work with. Okay. So learning to stay in today, having that central focus will do wonders for your energy. Anybody have an amen on that? Like, if you've known that, if you have felt that, you know the power of this. You know the truth of what I'm saying. Anybody in the comments? Like, give me an amen on that. Did you have felt that when you have gotten focused and present, and that took me a long time, and I still have days, probably half of every week is a day where I have to really bring myself back constantly, because there's something coming up in my future that is really new to me, or I'm going through something really uncomfortable. And so I'm like, my old patterns was to be so prepared. I'd go in the future and create all these things and try to be so prepared. Or, oh, and that happened last time. I've learned to stop doing that. And I go, well, what's the current challenge today? Let's stay in today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Sure, I can take notes. Sure, I can call that person ahead of time and get some information, but I no longer create actual life scenarios. I let every day play out every day, just one day at a time. And that was a skill that took me a long time. But man, it makes a big difference. It makes all the difference in the world, all the difference. So one of the questions was also, how do I step back into spirituality and invite my children after becoming kind of complacent in this area? And I will share with you that a change in the home always starts with mom. Like studies show, like 95%. We need the influence of the father as the partnership picture and as a partnership support in a healthy home. But the influence of beliefs, the influence mostly comes from the mom, unless she's completely absent. And then it falls to a dad that then gets to develop more of his feminine energy, and he gets to have that influence. What's beautiful is when you have both, and a mom or a dad doesn't have to do both all the time, right? They're both valuable. And it starts with you. Whatever change you want to see in your community, your culture, whatever, it does start with you. I love how Gandhi said that years ago. Be the change you want to see. It has to start with you. So I'm going to offer the idea to start with one thing. Just one thing that you're going to do personally. And you don't say anything unless your kids ask, Mom, why are you doing that? You say, you know what? This is really important to me. You don't have to go and explain anything. They'll go, oh, that's important to my mom. And because you're their mom, they'll say, should that be important to me? That's the natural way of a parenting figure. They will look at what's important to you and wonder if that's important to them. What's a fault a lot of times is when a mom forces that importance onto their child. And then a child grows up with all sorts of belief systems that are not theirs, that they didn't choose. It's common. We've all done it. We all have it. And one of the things my clients get to experience is when we come upon those thought systems, we're dismantling these beliefs, and they go, that's not even mine. That was Grandma B's, or that was Dad's belief he was forcing upon me in that moment when we went through that experience. And they can learn to let go of those and say, that's not even mine. That wasn't even mine. How cool is that? But if you want to start to shift that, start with yourself. Our link with our children and our partnership with our spouse is so powerful. Use that power well. Use that power well. That maternal instinct, that intuition that we have inside of our homes is powerful. Use it wisely. Wield it well. We can change nations. We can change generations. We have great, great influence in this area. Amy says, how does planning fit into being present? Yeah, you definitely want to have a plan. You have to have somewhere to go. And then each day, so let me break this down. Say you plan, you say, here's my goals. And so for the first 90 days, I'm going to do this task towards that achievement, towards this thing that I believe, that I felt in my heart is really good for me. I'm going to do this. And that might be, say you're going to learn to watercolor. For the first few months, because learning to watercolor doesn't take a year. It can take like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So as a mom who has a lot of life, she's got kids, she's got a spouse, she's got life going on. For the first 3 months, it might just be go to the store and buy a watercolor set with paper. The second few months, go to search local watercolor classes and find one. This one, take watercolor classes. This one, paint 4 paintings. That's over a year. Now you could say, but those things will take me, that could take me 1 month and then I have room for other goals. This is the mistake that I made for the first 30 years of my life, was not allowing every day to be its day. If I said for 90 days, all I'm going to do is go buy this thing at, Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, I open my phone and I say, okay, what afternoon am I going to go buy those watercolor supplies? How much do they cost? Which month is this going to fit into? And all of a sudden, over 90 days, I accomplished that goal. And if I have multiple goals, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And every quarter, I have these tasks to do for these goals that are not overwhelming. They don't take over my life. They don't, all of a sudden, a year from now, I have accomplished them all. No stress. Success is inevitable if you have great intent and clarity and trajectory, but you take it one day at a time, because you don't know how everything's going to come, right? That's God's job. You don't know how everything's going to happen, but you can start walking in that direction, believing that He will provide the manna along the way. Okay. But you get to have this planned out, because that's humans. That's how this goes. So I'm going to stay in today and not worry about the watercolor stuff because it's already in my calendar. Do you see how you can accomplish so much if you allow every day? And you don't go, well, I have so much more time. It's like, oh my gosh, you might have an open afternoon to do whatever you want, and you'll still accomplish these goals. Go have fun that day. Don't think, well, I have this open time so I can do more of my goals and then set more goals. No. Oh, live a little. If you come up some open days, have that list of all the things you love and go do some of them. Live. It's so awesome when we can harness letting go of so much of this anxiety about doing these different things and just live in today. Plan it out and live in today. It's awesome. You're welcome. And one other person asked about money, learning to save for things. Guys, again, intention. Intention hits almost everything that everyone, where's your focus? Where is your intention? If you truly intend to go on a vacation, you will plan out the entire vacation before you have the money for it. You will plan it out. You'll pick the weekend. You will seriously, you will plan the entire thing. These are the days we're going. This is the day Dad needs to ask off work. This is the day I need to ask off work. This is the day we're taking the kids out of school. It's all planned out before you put a dime in there. And I remember really thinking hard when a client was like, oh, well, that's a new idea. You plan the trip before you have the means for it. I'm like, absolutely. If you're waiting around for money to just show up so you can go on this trip, you'll never go on the trip. And if you do, it'll be spontaneous on credit, which a lot of the times will bring guilt and all these things, because that doesn't align with you. It doesn't. It doesn't align with you to live that way. And you'll try to say it's okay, but it's just not. It's just not okay with you to do that. So plan the entire trip. And she mentioned, car repairs, kids' clothes. Guys, put a section on your budget. I have a kids' clothing section in my budget every month. Kids grow, kids scrape their knee, kids stain stuff. You know what I mean? Put it on there. And what's even more awesome is when you put yourself on your budget. Mom, Dad, health supplements. You know what I mean? Like, what is important to you better be on there. It better be. And if you're like, well, our budget's too small, then I would be going to look at either you need a new job, you need a second job. I don't know how to increase your income, whatever is going to work for you. But that's a whole nother thing we could talk about. But put a spot on the budget. But when it comes to like trips, plan the entire trip, figure out what the costs will be, break it down to how many months you have till you get there, and then you know how much money to be putting in. And if it's not going to work, you got to change the trip a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, really start putting things that really matter to you on your budget. I've had a kids' clothing thing on the budget for 12 years, like a long time. And if we don't use it that month, the way our system is working right now, it's rolling over. So I have this, because what's great is if I don't spend that amount that month, by the time August rolls around, we have a new school year and the kids want a few new things, right? I've had this snowballing for me. Guys, if you're depending on your electronic banking and you don't have a spreadsheet, I don't know how you're dealing with your money. Like, because in my experience, what you don't know, you can't change. And you can say, well, I'm looking at my bank every day. Yeah, that's kind of reactive. What you want to be looking in your bank every day is to make sure all your categories are lining up, if that's what you're looking at your bank every day. And I will share with you, I went through a season where I was looking at my bank account like 3 times a day. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I looking at this? Stop. And I had to really be intentional about stopping that behavior. It was a scarcity behavior. It was when I know I have my spreadsheet and I know what our expenses are and money coming in, and I stick to it, it's all good. We never run out of money, ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's all there and I just stick to it. You have to have boundaries and beliefs about that. Because I'll share with you that when you start keeping your commitments to yourself, magic starts to happen. Yes, Nikki, I love that. Love that. Good job. Excellent. When you start to keep commitments to yourself, your self-confidence will skyrocket. The amount of goals you achieve will skyrocket. The amount of abundance that's allowed, that you're allowing to flow, goes up. Keep your commitments to yourself as best you can. If you write out that budget, don't walk down the aisle and be like, oh, I always wanted one of those. Be careful. Be careful on those little extra things that for many of us add up to $400 or $500 a month. Okay. There's another question about how to do the things I want to do just for the sake of doing them. Trusting that financial blessings will come, needs will be met. If what I'm doing isn't producing money. There is a deep money belief system working in this comment. A deep money belief system working in this comment. Kind of an expectation about how money works here, versus being just like a tool that we use. And one of my questions is that I want to counter that with is, yes, there's a lot of belief systems at work here, but do you believe that you can do whatever you want? How does your belief in agency, how deep does your belief in agency go? Do you really believe you can do whatever you want? Like, truly, that's a great question that all of us, we want to ask ourselves, honestly. I have an affirmation right now that says, you can choose whatever you want. You always have the choice. Whatever you want, Robin. That's powerful, because I discovered that I didn't believe that for probably 37 years of my life. I didn't believe that I could do whatever I wanted. What's beautiful though is getting clear on what you want. If you are so dead clear that what you want is what you really want in your life, that what you're doing covers all the areas of total alignment, then man, you will never be held back. Whatever is supposed to be there will be there. It will be right. But if you haven't sat down and said, what's really in alignment with me? What's really a top priority in my life, my family, my children, my goals as a mom, my goals as a human? If this doesn't align with that, it's going to be a rocky ride. It will be a rocky ride. And I want to share with you an experience I had with an affirmation recently. Well, 4 or 5 months ago. But I was really frustrated with making dinner every day for my family. I was just like, come on, I got teenagers, they can help out, like all this stuff. I was having a conversation with my sister because she works full time and she has kids very near the same age as me. And I'm like, I know her kids make dinner often. They switched nights or something. So I asked her what that process was. I said, oh, so your kids make dinner, right? She's like, oh yeah, that was so great. You know, I'm like, well, how does that work for you? And she laid out for me how that was working for them. And she's like, well, sometimes the only thing a kid can make is spaghetti. So sometimes we have spaghetti like 3 times a week. That hit me like a brick. I immediately knew that my whole frustration, this thought that I was attached to that was causing me suffering was bogus. I was like, aha, I refuse to eat spaghetti 3 times a week. It hit me hard. I'm like, I have a value system here. This is my problem. I have a really high value system for nutrition. We have food allergies, how our food is prepped. Like I realized, I'm like, you know what? Either I need to drop this idea that our food has to be a certain way. I love variety. I do not want spaghetti 3 times a week. I'm not okay with that. Like, I was like, oh, that's why I make dinner every night. That's why I make dinner every day. I've given myself Fridays off. We do pizza night and whatever. But like, it struck me and I was like, oh, I need to create an affirmation about this. I need to start affirming to my mind why I'm doing that. So I have an affirmation right now that says, making dinner every night is in alignment with my health values and the values I want to know were achieved in my time serving my children dinner. So I enjoy this opportunity to make dinner every night that's in alignment with my values. It changed the whole energy of the entire experience. I don't care that I make dinner every night now. I know why I do it. I know why I do it. When I hadn't had that clarity before, that it was in alignment, you know? And so when you're thinking about how do I do these things just to do them, I would look at your overall holistic view of your values and what aligns with you and say, is this action of this activity or this investment or whatever this is, does this align with my overall trajectory of where I would really love my life story to be? What is the intent? Intention is everything. Why are you doing what you're doing? And go deep. Ask yourself that question like 7 layers deep. Why are you doing this? Well, it brings me joy and fulfillment. Why do you need joy and fulfillment? Well, because that's what life's all about. Why are you so intent on believing that is this really what life's all about? Well, I don't know. Life, I guess, has these different pieces. Well, why did you choose those specific pieces? Well, because, do you know what I mean? And you might get down to a level that is like mind-blowing to you. You'll be like, whoa. One client did something similar to this. And at the end, she's like, Robin, I'm trying to fill a wound. And she started crying. And she's like, I had no idea that this thing I was trying to do was filling an open wound within me. I was trying to cover it up. But I actually need to do some work on this. That was heavy. That was deep. But I'll share with you that it's actually common. A lot of things that people may choose to do, thinking, well, I'm doing this for my own joy or for my own growth. That can be great. And that can be true. But a lot of times if they feel a lot of pull and tug with it, a lot of wondering, a lot of anxiety, a lot of, oh, I don't know, like go deeper then. Go a little bit deeper, because when you get to the root of it, if it truly is a piece of your life enjoyment that aligns with everything else, you can drop all that anxiety and stuff and you'll go, this is what I'm doing. And you'll have a different energy about it that shifts how the resources come for you to do it, how your whole family feels, how your spouse feels, how the people you're doing it with feel. Guys, intent is everything. Your clarity of why you do what you do will shift the energy with which you do it, which shifts how things flow for you. Someone mentioned the time change. Those of us that do, I thought that the government had said something about how we weren't doing daylight savings anymore, and yet here we are. That time change mixed with this longer winter, those of us that live in the north have had a longer winter than we've had in like 12 years. And we're falling back into harder patterns of feeling sorry for ourselves, unappreciated, wanting to escape life. And this lady that messaged me was like, I'm doing a really good routine. I feel good and that's helping. But I just think I need some encouragement or something because I'm falling back into some old patterns. Anybody else having a struggle with this winter? This, like the longer period of time. And what's also interesting is that the entire human race is going through a awareness revolution here, like a renaissance of sorts of awareness, like really, like a whole renaissance of spirituality and what people know. I was looking at statistics because I work with Facebook, not like a partner, but like it's part of my business to be on Facebook often and understand what Facebook is doing. And they were like, oh yeah, we've calculated over, 15% of the world's population has a Facebook account. That's pretty crazy. I was like, whoa, social media used to have like, so many million viewers. They are now tracking 1 billion plus users in social media, Facebook, Instagram, like all these things, right? And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like people are knowing what other people are doing around the globe for the first time in our history. Think about that. Think of the implications of that. For the first time in history, everybody can know what's going on with everybody else. You guys just watch. The next 100 years is going to be crazy in a good way, but something is going on. Like, we are becoming connected as a human family as never before. And this energy renaissance, the spiritual awareness, all this stuff, you are part of it. You're feeling it. And when we have a longer winter and we're doing our own stuff and there's just a vibe about the earth, just know that we've got to be very intentional. I know that word is coming up a lot today. You can no longer just scroll social media. Like, you got to be really careful about that time, what you're looking at, what voices. Isn't it interesting that we're so careful about where our kid goes for a play date, and yet we let them get on social media or game with someone that's across the world on their, gaming device on the internet? We're so careful about who we let into our house, what girlfriends we go out with on Thursday night. We're so careful about that, and yet we're willing to lay in bed and scroll, putting all these other people's ideas in our heads all day, sometimes multiple times a day. Is that not interesting? So if you need to do a little media audit, please do. Who are you following? Why are you following? Why are you on social? What is it doing for you? What's the emotional payoff? Do you need it for work? I get that. I personally get on Facebook on my computer and I have a Chrome extension that does not allow me to look at newsfeed, so that I get on and I do my work tasks, and that is it. My phone has screen time rules. I do not allow my phone in my room if you know what I mean? It's not in my room most of the time. I've moved our charging station in the office so that our phones aren't out in the house. The kids have to come in here to charge their devices. And that's been really important. We turn in our phones at night. Like it's really important. So just know that if you need to do an outside influence audit, what books are you reading? What shows are you watching? Are they promoting good ideas? Are they promoting uplifting things? Are you watching shows that permeate ideas of stress or infidelity or violence? These things matter. They do. Are you exercising? Are you opening the energy centers of your own body? I can't tell you how stiff people's necks, their shoulders, their hips get. And they don't even realize so much of our energy flow starts here, goes down our spine, and it goes out here and there. These are our main energy centers, coming up and out from the heart through the shoulders, and then down through the groin, out from the pelvis. Doing squats and walking and some, planks and arm circles or whatever you need to do. Yoga is awesome to open these energy centers and allow the energy within your own body to flow. Allow the emotions within your own body to flow. Emotions come, learning to let them pass is a skill. Versus what we talked about at the very beginning of this call, numbing them with food, social, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs. They are all the same. One is not better than the other. You guys, numbing your brain with all the stimulus from social is the same as binge eating or taking a cigarette. Okay. I say that because I used to judge that. And I've now learned that is not, they're all the same. It's a way for us to numb out and have so much stimulation that we cannot process what we need to process. Feels good for a moment because we feel a sense of relief, but I would be asking, why do I need this relief? What's going on in my life? Why do I need this relief? And that's where we want to look at your belief systems. What thoughts are you attached to? Because suffering is always a signal that we have become attached to something. So this person that's like, I'm feeling sorry for myself, I'm wanting to escape. I'd look at if you're on any medications and if they do need to change, how much sunlight you're getting, how much you're moving your body. These are all ways to naturally, right? That's the 50% of this energy for, physical energetics. We have how you are seeing, if you're going forward and backward, how much meditation, how present you can be, plus this. And yesterday on one of our coaching calls for the group Inside Delayed Mother Experience, I brought up this truth that, maybe I can share my screen with you guys and do a little, take notes on this. This is really important. Ooh. You guys see this whiteboard? If you can see the whiteboard, give me like a little thumbs up in the chat or something. I always want to make sure that technology is working for me. Can you guys see this? Is it showing up for you? Yes, no? Put in the chat. In the comments. I'm not going to move forward unless I hear that someone is like this. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So here's your 3 parts to life. Your life has 3 main pieces. Okay? Mindset is 1. How come it doesn't move, get bigger like the other one? Energetics is the other one. I like this feature, but it's like really limited. You see where I'm going here? I don't know how to. I don't know what makes it be able to move or not. Oh well. You guys get the picture. Take a screenshot if you want. These are the three main components that make up how we move through life. And these are, you cannot not have one of these. Like, you know what I mean? So all the intent and the alignment and all of that kind of stuff works in this strategy and mindset areas. Okay. And when we're talking about your organic energy, this is where we have 50% is organics, like your actual organs, and 50% is like just mental presence. It's probably one of the best words I can think of right now. Realizing that in your energetic section is how you're moving, like literally moving through the world, this fleshy being, right? Like how you're moving through the world is it's a whole piece. You guys, you cannot not have one of these. Like you can't. You will feel overwhelmed, you will feel out of whack, you will struggle if you don't have these different pieces. And inside the Elevated Mother experience, we work on all of these, always. Mostly we're helping in the strategy section because people haven't had a good, strong idea of boundaries they need to set, how to get aligned, how to break that down to move forward. That's a piece. A lot of people come to my program and they've been working out. They've been working on their mindset. They've had like all these things, and yet their life hasn't changed a ton. And they're like, what? They need to move over. It's a final hump. It's the final hill. It's the final piece to work on how to actually strategize how they move in what they're doing. So we're bringing all the pieces together and saying, okay, where are you at in your energetics? Where are you at in your mindset? Where are you at in your strategy? This is in business too, right? Like this is the same thing. Any successful leader, any person, that's what I'm saying, like this applies everywhere. How are you seeing the world? How's your body? What you doing? Equals the trajectory of your life. It really is. So look at these areas and think, what am I doing? Where do I feel really strong? Where do I feel like I really get this? And if you are struggling in all these areas, welcome to being a human. Constantly shifting, constantly moving. There may be a time where one of these pie charts gets a little more attention. You know, that's okay. But realize that all of them create a progressive experience. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful. I know we're at the end of our time. But this can be really helpful when you're sitting down going, what's my problem? One of these areas is probably not receiving nurturing. Like it's not being cultivated well. And this can help you to know where you want to put your focus. Do I need a coach for, a personal trainer? Do I need, the elevated mother experience where I can learn how to put all these into play for myself? Do I need total mindset? Do I need to really go read some more books about this? So I hope that this was helpful. We're going to end the share now that I figured out where that comes from. But I hope this has been a really good session for you guys. When I went to bed last night, I'm like, there was a few things that came through, but I'm like, I hope this session is really, really what you guys needed today. I hope that it served you today. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We're coming up on spring break where I live. So I'm all geared up for the energy of my children for the next 10 days. But if you have other thoughts, I'm an open book. Drop comments down in the, in the recording, message me, let me know. And I can hopefully help you to move forward on something, because it's really awesome when you start to figure out these intentional pieces and your energy shifts and things move. And it's really awesome. Thanks for bringing your questions, for your vulnerability. Signing off.